Hey guys, Joe DeMarco here from the Crazeenydriver show for Friday night, March 27, 2015. Tonight we're going to be talking mostly about the eBay seller newsletter that most of you guys got in your inbox this week. And we're going to do a brief rehash of last week's video and a few other eBay things. As you can see, I got the subjects outlined on the whiteboard behind me. The spring seller newsletter, my cancels, defects, blah, blah, blah. We'll get into that as we go along. So I guess we should get started. First of all, guys, thanks for all the comments on last week's newsletter and spring seller updates. I read all your comments and thought they were all very interesting. Thank you for writing in. One person wrote in and said that I didn't cover some aspects of the media category, saying that the prices for those who sell in media are going up, and that's true. But like I said last week, I can only comment on a certain amount in the time allotted. So there's always going to be some facets of the newsletter or the updates that slip through the cracks, and that was one of them. But to expound on what he said, yes, for those of you guys who sell in the media category, your fees are going to go up. And I do not believe it's a huge money-making category, like where you can really absorb the hit like you can in other categories. So I really don't have any experience in selling in that category myself. But for those of you guys who do sell in it, you can jump in below and give us your experiences and feelings. Another thing I'm not sure if I made clear last week has to do with the auctions. eBay is giving unlimited free auctions to sellers, but what that means, let me clarify that because there's some misconceptions there. If you as a seller list 500 auctions and 200 of those auctions sell, you will receive a final value fee credit for the 200 auctions. The other 300 you'll have to pay for. So it's not a carte blanche thing. This only has to do with successful listings. Again, if you list 500 items and 200 sell, you will get final value fee credits on those 200, but not the 300 that didn't. I don't know if I made that clear in last week's video. Just in case, I'm setting the record straight now. For this week, I have been, like I said the last few weeks, unusually busy, okay? Both on eBay and locally. Really busy, you know? As far as my track record goes, hold on while I have a drink here. This is Gatorade, but it's also known as eBay Kool-Aid, and I love drinking eBay Kool-Aid. I'd like to start off now with a joke, if I may, before I get into the newsletter. What's green and sings? There are actually two correct answers. Some say Frank Sinatra, but I prefer to say Elvis Parsley. Elvis Parsley. You know Elvis. He sang that famous song, among others, "Don't You Step on My Blue Suede Flip-Flops." All right. Enough levity. Back to eBay. This week I had no cancellations and I had 3 returns. The 3 returns were all because the bidders did not read the listing. The first one was a guy who called me up because, as you know, I send a contact letter with everything I sell to avoid anybody accidentally opening a snag case. All right? So this guy calls me up and says, "You sent me a 14-inch hubcap, but I really need a 13-inch hubcap." And I said to him, "Well, you're right. I did send you a 14-inch hubcap because that's what you purchased from me." And he says, "No, I purchased a 13-inch hubcap from you. You sent me the wrong one." I said, "Listen, are you online now? We'll go over this together." "Well, wait, no, I'm not online now, but actually it was my friend. He told me it was 13-inch. I said, oh, now it's your friend, huh? I said, listen, I have no problem taking the item back. None whatsoever. But will you please just admit you made the mistake? And the guy says, oh, okay, I admit it. I made a mistake. I didn't read it. I mean, he didn't want to man up at the very beginning. I don't know why. I have no problem taking it back. The second was a guy who didn't read. And this guy, I have in red lettering on the listing, this cap does not fit the wire wheel. So he buys the cap, calls me up and says, this does not fit the wire wheel. I said, of course not. It clearly says it's for a different wheel. It's for an alloy wheel. It's not for a wire wheel. I said, not only do I have it there, I have it in red lettering. Well, I didn't see it. Again, you know, I have to take the item back. I offer 14-day returns, and I'm not saying I like returns, but I'm saying it's part of doing business on eBay. You're going to get returns. I myself, as you know, I get quite a few on eBay Motors because, in all fairness, I realize most people do not realize or do not understand cars like I do, or like a lot of other people do. I will bet you, and I'm not being disrespectful here, how many of you people, you good sellers, actually know your exact tire size? I don't mean 14-inch, 15-inch, 16-inch. I mean the letters that go before it. For instance, P215, 75R15. I bet you only a handful of you honestly know your tire size without running out to your garage, bending down and reading the size. You know, I get so many people that will say to me, Joe, your listing says the hubcap is 15-inch, but I just measured my hubcap and it's 16-inch, but it looks the same as yours. You're not supposed to measure anything. Just read the size on the side of your tire. That tells you a lot. But most people don't realize that, and that's why I have an unusual amount of comebacks on eBay Motors, and I accept that. You know, it's part of doing business. But okay, I just wanted to touch on that. On my newsletter, my defect rating is 0.67%. 30% of my transactions were made by eBay Mobile. Over 98% of my validations, my carrier tracking numbers, were validated. Okay? And I'm curious what your stats are, if you don't mind sharing them. What I'd like to know, guys, in the comments below, have you had any cancellations or returns this week? What your defect percent is, your eBay Mobile sales percent, and if you want to include the tracking, you can. But guys, the tracking is really not important because that number fluctuates daily. Don't get bent out of shape if yours is 90 or 92. Don't worry about it. It will work out in the end. As long as the package is scanned somewhere in its route to its destination, you are covered. You do not have to worry. Okay? Trust me on this, okay? I heard a rumor, and this is only a rumor, and it's not going to happen for months if it does happen, but I figured I'd just throw it out there and give you a little food for thought, that somewhere down the road, maybe even later this year, 2015, eBay will be accepting other payment methods besides PayPal. What are they? I can't say. When will this go into effect? I can't say. It's just something I've heard. It's a rumor. That's all it is now. I just figured I'd put it out there so when the time comes, everybody doesn't say, oh my God! You know? I just like to keep the community informed. I keep my ear open and I listen to everything I hear. Now guys, have you noticed your sales have increased on eBay in the last couple of weeks? Because there is a huge, huge division on this topic. I would say, from what I've heard, 60 to 70% are cheering, saying their sales have gone up. But 40%, 30 to 40% are saying no, they haven't gone up. They haven't had sales in like 2 days. I've heard people say they haven't had sales for the entire month of March. Now, this is just what I've been reading. I can't actually substantiate it myself, but I have read this in the Facebook groups, in some of them. So guys, would you say right now, let's use the month of March for example, would you say your sales have generally gone up? Or would you say they've gone down or stayed the same? And if they've gone up, do you attribute it to the little hint I gave you a few weeks ago, those of you guys who offer free shipping, to change your shipping method to calculated shipping as opposed to the flat rate shipping? I highly recommend you doing that if you haven't already. I can honestly tell you, I have noticed a difference, a big difference. My sales are way freaking up. This is great. This is really good news, man. I haven't had sales this constant in a long time. I cannot remember, I don't think a single day in March did I have a no sale day. But if you recall, back in January and February, I was complaining about, the rolling blackouts and how there were certain days I had no activity and certain days I had better activity. Excuse me, I'm being texted. Okay. So, it's only my ex. We don't have to worry about her. So, where was I? Oh, the sales. Now, I still notice some days are busier than others. Okay? That is true. But I haven't had a shutout or a no-hitter in quite a while, thank God. And I'm wondering if you guys have enjoyed the same boost in sales. If only eBay would dump that Crazeenydriver search engine, it would get even better. Will they dump it? I don't know. I can't swear it. I'd love to see them dump it. But at this point, I just don't know. Something scared them. They were set to dump it, but something made them say, hold on a minute. I don't know what that is. I really don't know at this point. But if I do find out, I will tell you about it. The defects, as you can see, mine is 0.67%, which is very respectable considering the volume I do, which is pretty good. Okay? As you know, anything under 2% is acceptable to be a top-rated seller. The lower, the better, of course. eBay says the defects stay on your account for 1 year from receipt. But guys, I'm going to tell you right now, that is not correct. It's at least 13 months. Remember, I proved it to you a month or two ago when I had feedbacks from January 2014 still showing up. January the 8th, to be specific. I had 2 of them. And they still showed up. And I thought that really freaked me out. I mean, if they're going to stay on for a year, they're going to stay on for a year. But let's banish them. Let us banish those defects after a year. And let's clean the slate. So yeah, that's the situation right now. Reading your comments here on my channel and also in the Facebook groups, I would say a large percentage of you guys agreed with me that this recent eBay update was a lot less painful than many of the previous ones. In fact, it had virtually no pain at all for me. I do realize some of you media sellers were crying that your fees went up, and I accept that and I respect it. But I'm just telling you my personal point of view. It was a non-issue. So, that's about all for this week. I like to keep these videos 15 minutes or so. I don't like to keep them too long. But anyway, guys, let's go over some salient points. If you would like to share with the class any of your stats, whether it be how many cancellations you had, returns, defects, I'm really interested in your eBay mobile stats. Mine are traditionally a lot lower than a lot of yours. As you can see, mine is only 30%. I'll bet you some of you guys have 40 and 50% eBay mobile sales. I've noticed that in the past. But because I'm an eBay Motors seller, I think that's one of the reasons mine tend to be lower. Also, I'm sure there's not a single person that doesn't know this. I'm Crazy New York Driver. You're not. Thanks for watching. This is the longest running eBay channel on YouTube, period. Period. I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay. Guys, I hope you're here to stay too. Thank you for watching. I love when you guys leave your comments. It helps me with next week's show, especially with topics. If you need to contact me directly, if you don't want to leave a comment for some reason, you want to contact me directly, the easiest way is through YouTube. Just send me a PM. If you can't handle that, email me, crazynewyorkdriver, you know how to spell it, just like my name on YouTube, at AOL.com. My third and my least favorite way to be contacted is through eBay. Alright? The only time I really want you to contact me through eBay is if you're somebody that I'm going to add to a Facebook group. Then I may say contact me through eBay so I can validate your account. But as a rule, I mean, that's just my least favorite way to be contacted. So please, PM me, email me, and I will see you guys next Friday night right here on the Crazy New York Driver Show. Thanks for watching. Rock on.